Hey everyone, remember this place? This is our lab. Sure, you miss it. I miss having you here doing things. But we're gonna do this lab called decomposition of sodium bicarbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate, baking soda, otherwise known as. And I am going to do this on what you would normally do in lab equipment. You're going to do this at home in the oven, and it should still get some decent results, but I'm going to do this here so you can see what it would normally be. So this is the scale, and this is sodium bicarbonate right here. I'm going to put, this is called a crucible. So the crucible looks like this, and I normally would just, you can put this on here, but I like to put it on the beaker because it's easier to hold the beaker than it is to hold the crucible. Crucibles get, they're really hot after they're heated, and even though I have the tongs, I'm not going to want to heat that. So hold that. So I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to put the cap on there, and the mass of that total is 64.27 grams. So I am going to write that down in my notebook, and then I'm going to keep that here. I'm going to go ahead and add some sodium bicarbonate now. You're going to have the same thing. You're going to add this, some in your vessel as well. But I'm going to add more than you. Okay, so I hope that's more than yours. So I'm gonna write down, 66.48 grams is my mass, and then I'm going to go ahead. Well, actually, let me do this beforehand. If you see a clump in there, make sure it's broken up, and then weigh it. So I'm gonna break this up a little bit. Okay, so still, I didn't lose any, 66.48. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on this thing here now. So this is a Bunsen burner. You've seen that before. This is called a clay triangle, and this is a ring stand, and this is the ring. So you're going to put the crucible on here, and then you would normally take the cap. We're not going to cover it all the way because we want to have it's going to make carbon dioxide, so we want to make sure that escapes. So we're going to put that off to the side like this, just tilted, or it's called akimbo. That's another fancy word for that. So you're going to put it akimbo, and then we're going to heat it up for 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the gas on. I'm going to light this like this. Oh, I need my goggles. There we go. Safety first. And then, so I'm going to heat it up. I'm actually going to do a gentle heating, so I'm not going to put it directly in the heat right now because I don't want I don't want the stuff to just start popping out of there. And so I'm going to heat it up for like a minute. And while we're heating it up, so this is, you're going to just put it in the oven. Maybe some cookies or a cake or something that's tasty. You can also put in there. So I'm going to heat this up for about a minute. I don't know if that's been a minute, but close enough. And then we're going to go ahead and do a high heating. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to make sure this is set so that it is. So this I should. There we go. So it's going to be on there. Okay. I'm going to lower this a little bit to make sure that it's in the hottest part of the flame. So really careful when you do this. Well, you're not going to do it, but you still should be really careful or think about safety. So we're going to leave this on here for a couple minutes now, like 5 minutes, and I will come back when this is heated, okay? So I'm going to stop the video, and then we'll come back when this is heated. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to turn off the heat. I don't know if you can look in there. It is red hot. Your stuff is not going to get that hot, but it is red hot. I'm going to go ahead and turn the gas off. And we're going to let it cool now. Let it cool for a couple minutes to make sure we don't break any glassware cooling too fast. If I don't want to break this beaker if I put it on there too hot. Never ever put hot things directly onto the scale. I'm going to also close this. So this is called a Crucible tong. Crucible tongs are for crucibles. If you ever read the book called The Crucible, I think it's something that, well, this is stuff that you heat stuff in. It's a little pot like this. I think the Crucible in the book is something similar, okay? So we're going to let this cool for a few minutes, and then we're going to weigh it and then see what happens. Okay, so let it cooled. Now let's go ahead and weigh this thing. So my beaker is still on the scale. I can keep that on there. Normally, you have to weigh everything. You know, again, make sure the scale is zeroed. Yep, the scale is zeroed. Okay, so the scale. Sneeze. Crucible tongs have this little space here. So you can actually use the Crucible tongs to grab things like this. Okay. And then you can put that right on the scale. Okay, now we can see it is 65.63 grams. So we've lost some mass. Now, I would normally take this and go heat it again. I'm not going to do that because I need to go and pick up my child. So normally you do that, do a second heating, and you would heat it a couple times until what we say we got no change in mass. So we have level mass, or there's no more change in mass. And think about why we would do that. You heat it a couple times, but I'm just going to save time today. I got to go. All right.